Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Tech G. I'm once again shooting in my wife's beauty studio, so please ignore the backdrop. It's not what I choose, but it's for her, so it's once again, her room has the best lighting in the house, so this is where I'm shooting for now. But I have a super exciting video for you. I was lucky enough to get an Xbox Series X. My wife ended up getting this for me on release date. I thought they had sold out everywhere. But she was lucky enough to snag one as they were up for sale for several minutes on release date. So it just arrived last week on Friday. I've set it up, I've played with it. I have some initial impressions that I can also reveal on this as well. But I just kind of wanted to go over this with you guys and kind of show you what this thing's all about, because I've been super excited to get a next-gen console. My last console I had was actually a PlayStation 4, which I wasn't really a big fan of. I've never been a fan of the PlayStation 4 controllers, but I bought it because there was a bunch of games I really wanted to play that were PS4 exclusives. The system ended up dying on me, but that's a different story altogether. But I enjoyed it while I had it, but I haven't had a console, and the console before that I had before that was the Xbox 360, which I actually still have and play occasionally, things like Halo and things like that. But yeah, let's get right back into it. So, just going over it, Xbox does have, this system does support 4K, 120 frames per second, if you have a TV that supports it. So it's very crucial. If you want 4K 120, the game supports it. If your TV supports HDMI 2.1, you should be able to get 4K 120 with that. I know a lot of older TVs don't have that. They'll have HDMI 2.0, which I believe supports up to 1440p at 120 hertz. And obviously you can get your 1080p, 60 hertz, 120 hertz, and then you can also do all of that. This console does also support HDR10, high dynamic range, obviously more vivid pictures, things like that, if your TV supports that as well. It does come with a 1 terabyte solid state drive integrated in with Microsoft's proprietary Velocity architecture. They're claiming that this is the fastest SSD and the most powerful console in existence to date. Obviously, I've played with it a bit. I've enjoyed it. The load times are crazy fast. But it's not really much different than what I've done on my gaming PC with solid state drives as well. So I've been using solid state drives in my gaming PC for many, many years. It's nice to see that consoles have finally caught up to a certain degree with PC gaming, because obviously you now have 4K capability, you have fast loading times with SSD, you have higher refresh rates where games used to be capped at 30 frames per second, maybe 60 frames per second if you were lucky. Now they go up to 120 frames per second. So we're getting into that super high frame rate gaming, which is super silky smooth for certain games. First person shooters are great. Anything with high action is really great as well. So getting into some of the technology, Microsoft kind of went with a unique design here where they had a split motherboard separated by a big aluminum chassis to dissipate the heat. They've improved their X-clamp for clamping on their SiC so that it hopefully distributes weight a little bit better, so we don't end up with situations like they had in the Xbox 360 days on the first models of those, where they always ended up with things like the red ring of death and you had to put your console in a towel and superheat it to fix it every week. I went through that with a couple of my Xbox 360s. One of the interesting things, this system does also support 8K as well, so you can get up to 8K. It has variable refresh rate. It does have an integrated a Blu-ray player, so you can get up to 4K on Blu-ray on that as well. Just going around the box, you do see Master Chief on the back. Hopefully the new Halo game comes out soon. I know it was delayed. Games I'm excited to play on this thing are going to be Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I'm really looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077 on this thing as well. Also with their Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, it unlocks a big library of all of the Microsoft titles and also now the EA titles as well. So there's hundreds of games available on the Game Pass, which is really great. They also have their Xbox Series X, which is a slightly smaller, less powerful console that does not have a Blu-ray drive or any drive whatsoever. It's a strictly digital console. I believe that one has around 512 gigabytes of storage, which means by the time you take your operating system and your standard operating files in there, you have less storage. This one here has about 860 to start with, and it does fill up quite quickly. One nice thing is you can expand the storage with an expansion storage card, so it uses the same architecture and integrates directly in, so it's a direct expansion. You can double your storage up to 2 terabytes with that expansion card right now. It is a proprietary card at the moment. Who knows if they will be coming out with any aftermarket ones, but right now Seagate kind of has the market on it for initial launch. Hopefully something else comes out as a competitive option to drive costs down, because right now it is a little bit on the expensive side. I believe they're about $220 US or around $299 Canadian for expansion. Also, that would be needed if you wanted to play Xbox Series X titles, if you needed more space. If you are loading backwards compatible games, which Xbox obviously has a huge backwards compatible library all the way back to the original Xbox days. Not all games are backwards compatible, but there is a lot of backwards compatible games, and those can actually be installed or stored on an external hard drive. So you can play them, you can store them on external hard drives, so that is also a great storage option for some of the older games that you're not maybe worried about the long load times or anything like that, or you're running out of storage and you want to save that specifically for your Xbox Series X titles. It enables you to do that as well. One thing to also note, you can transfer your Xbox Series X titles you're not playing onto your external hard drive if you wanted to save it for later. Say you want to get a new game but you don't want to delete your existing game because say you have limited bandwidth or something and you can't download it. So you can transfer it over and then transfer it back, and you can keep doing that. So it's there's a lot of options there. So let's get right into it. So it is actually quite an awesome opening experience. Like I said, I had already opened this, so it doesn't have the wrap around the Xbox or anything like that, but just wanted to show the box and everything else. But getting right into it, it is a very unique unboxing experience where you get in, you open it up, and your Xbox is right there, wrapped in black wrapping. So you get this out. It is a very matte finish. It does have rubber feet on the bottom. It also has rubber feet on the sides as well. So if you want to lay it down on its side or its bottom, everything's okay. The way that the ventilation works on this, all the air gets sucked in through the back, and it goes up through the top, through a large fan at the top here. So far from running this, it surprisingly runs really cool. Well, cool in comparison to, say, my PC. And it's extremely whisper quiet. I don't hear anything. There's a game in the game drive. I don't hear it spinning up or anything like that. You don't hear the fan. Now, I am a good 10 feet away from my TV because I do have a 75-inch TV that I play it on. But even still, compared to say my Xbox 360, which sounds like a jet taking off in comparison, it is crazy quiet that you don't even hear it spinning up. So it's really great. They kind of have a quick start guide here. So just kind of telling you that you have to download the Xbox app to set up your system, which allows you to obviously download games to your system and everything else as well. It does come with a high-speed HDMI 2.1 cable. It does also have the Xbox Series X controller, which is almost identical to the Xbox One controller. The one difference is obviously they have a new sharing button, and they also have the new D-pad. So instead of having the 4-quadrant D-pad, it's kind of a continuous 8-quadrant D-pad, which is a little bit easier to get those angled presses on it. You have a slight rough texture on the handle grips here. You do have your USB-C connection. One thing to note, Xbox does not include rechargeable batteries with this, so you do need to use AA batteries or buy a external rechargeable battery pack, which comes with a USB cable so you can charge it as well. So Xbox has always had those play and charge kits, whereas something like Sony, they come with rechargeable batteries built in. I think I kind of like the replaceable rechargeable batteries. because batteries tend to deplete in capacity over time. So if, say, your PlayStation controller needs to replace batteries, you have to tear it apart, whereas with Microsoft, you would just go out and spend an extra 20 something bucks on a new play and charge kit, which comes with a USB cable and a battery. So it's really not so bad. Obviously, the controllers are, I think, roughly the same price. But other than that, new technology in this controller, there's nothing really new about it. It is nice. It's definitely a lot nicer than my Xbox 360 controller. Obviously, like I said, I skipped the Xbox One generation and didn't have anything for that. So I didn't have any experience with that. So I'm going directly from, say, a PS4 or an Xbox 360 controller. And I definitely like the offset sticks. I like the feel of the triggers. I like the feel of the bumpers. I like the looks of the controller. Everything is just, it's made for me the way I like it. It's very nice. So let's just get rid of this. Obviously it comes with the power cable as well. The nice thing about this is the power supply is built right into the Xbox. Going around to the back of this, you have your various connection ports. So obviously, like I mentioned, you have your expansion storage slot, you have your HDMI output, you have your power supply input, you have your LAN cable input, you have two HDMI or two USB ports. On the front, you have your power button right here. You have your sync button, you have another USB port, and you have your Blu-ray drive. So, like I had mentioned, this does go both horizontal and vertical. I'm not sure what the cooling is like on this console in its vertical position, because obviously, like I had mentioned, the air is meant to flow this way. So I'm wondering if one side of the board is going to get hotter than the other, because obviously hot air rises, so it's going to get sucked up and in and across. But with the fan, it might pull it out evenly, so who knows. But once again, it's not a huge console. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. It'll fit along nicely in my TV cabinet. Along with my TV, it will kind of blend in with everything, because obviously TVs are black, sound systems are black. So it'll kind of just blend in instead of sticking out, which is definitely a nice added feature. So now I just want to kind of run you through the menu system of the Xbox Series X. Obviously, like I said, this has already been set up, but I'm going to plug it into my TV and I'm going to record everything so that you can see that live in my video. So yeah, once again, this is the Xbox Series X. I have been, like I mentioned, I've been super excited to get this for a long time. There's a lot of games I want to play on this. There's obviously the new Halo game. I'm super excited for the new Fable game. Obviously, with Microsoft acquiring Bethesda, I don't know what's going to happen with that, especially with the Elder Scrolls series. But that series has been one of my favorite series for the longest time. I am super excited to play the Elder Scrolls 6. If it's an Xbox Series exclusive or even an Xbox exclusive for a period of time, I don't know what's going to happen with that. That would be absolutely crazy. But I'm super excited for that game. Like I said, I'm excited for Cyberpunk 2077. I'm also excited to play the backlog of games that I haven't played for the longest time because I haven't had access to a console, such as Gears of War, Forza, any of those games. I'm super excited, super pumped to play. So it's so far it's met my expectations at the very least, if not exceeded. So with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it. I know I'm really going to enjoy playing on this console for a long time, so much that my wife maybe not like it, but I'm sure over time that might change. But once again, thank you for watching, and if you really like the video, hit that subscribe button below. If you're really looking forward to any of my future videos, hit that notification button as well. But thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.